So the first object I'm going to show you is one of these. It's just a radio. Nothing special about this, it's just like the radios that you'd find in your home. What I'm particularly interested in is, if you see these numbers at the top, the number that you have to turn the radio to in order to tune to a particular station. So whether you're in your car or in your home, quite often there's a number that the radio will use to tell you what you need to tune your radio to make it operate correctly. And that number is a big part of my job and what I do. The second object I'm going to show you is this machine behind me. This is a radio spectrum analyzer, and what this allows someone to do is to look at radio waves and how they're operating. So you can take a device to check that it's functioning correctly, and you can use a radio spectrum analyzer to check that it's doing what it should do. The other thing you can do is you can use a device like this to check for interference. So if something's not operating as it should, it may be picking up interference from something else. So a quick demo for you. This is just a remote control from a remote control car, and the device will show us the radio waves that are coming out from this. So if I press the button down, you can see that peak appears, and you can see if I move the controller further away, the peak gets bigger and smaller the further I am from the machine. So that's a spectrum analyzer, and that's a really important tool that's used in my industry to make sure radios are operating correctly. The final object I'm going to show you is one of these. This is a passenger aircraft. This is a Boeing 787, the kind that you would go on holiday or away on business for. And this is a very large part of my job. So my job has something to do with all three of these things. The radio, particularly the numbers at the top, the spectrum analyzer, and of course the aircraft. So happy guessing. Thank you. So before I showed you one of these, a commercial airliner, my job has something to do with these, but also all other different types of aircraft. So from commercial airliners like this to light aircraft, so the kind of aircraft that maybe carries one or two people that people might fly for fun, to hot air balloons, to drones. And my job is all about keeping those aircraft safe in the skies. So I need to ensure that the systems they rely upon to fly people safely are operating correctly, that aircraft can know where they're going so they can navigate, that they can talk to the right people on the ground, they can talk to air traffic controllers. And my job's all about making sure those systems operate correctly, that they don't encounter what we call interference, so other problems with those radio systems causing them to not operate correctly and therefore to fail or potentially endanger an aircraft. So my job is a radio engineer. I work for an organisation called the Civil Aviation Authority, which is what we call a regulator. It's someone who looks after that industry and makes sure that everyone is doing what they're meant to be and that everyone is safe. My job is to do with radio. I look after all the radio systems that an aircraft uses. Besides just the radios that pilots use to talk to air traffic control, aviation uses a whole raft of different systems and machines to make sure an aircraft is safe in the sky. So I first got into broadcasting when I was studying A-levels. I studied electronics, physics, computing and maths, and I went on to study electronics and broadcast engineering at university, and then worked for a company that built television studios when I graduated. But there's not only academic routes, there are many apprenticeships available, particularly if you're interested in engineering and electronics, maybe through a large defence company or an electronic manufacturer. But if you're interested in electronics, I would definitely recommend picking up one of these. It's an electronics experiments kit. You can buy them online or in a toy shop, and it gives you an opportunity to build different circuits and discover if this is something that you really enjoy, building burglar alarms and radios, so you can experiment with them. If you're more into one of these, I would definitely recommend a trip along to your local airfield. Many local airfields have cafes, so you can go and get a cup of tea and a piece of cake and look at the aircraft. And usually everyone there is quite friendly, and they're always willing to chat to you about their aircraft or the people that are there to tell you how things work. So if it's something that's interesting to you, I would definitely recommend a trip to your local airfield, as it's actually quite a good day out, and you can get up and close and personal with some aircraft if you're lucky.
Did you guess the right answer? If you would like to find out more about this STEM career, ask questions or learn more from a STEM ambassador, email askanambassador@canterbury.ac.uk. Thanks for watching.